Hello, everybody. Josh here, and welcome back to Predict the Bell and the Kayfabe Central podcast. Today, we are talking about AEW Full Gear 2025, and as you can see, it is a lot different setup for Predict the Bell today. You can actually see myself and Rue. I'm your host, Josh, as always. Joining me is Rue on Wrestling.
Hey guys.
So yeah, we're gonna be going over AEW Full Gear. I figured that we might as well do the cameras on. Um, it also looks a lot more professional than just the graphic every single time. So we're gonna do it also for the headlines later this week. Also, which I haven't even figured out how I'm doing the headlines now that I just thought about it because of Full Gear on Saturday. Then I have a concert on Sunday. So that's going to be fun to cram in there, but I will figure it out how we're doing that. But for today, we are going over AEW Full Gear 2025. Before we get into that, though, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. I'm still so used to promoting the Ko-Fi page, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, for this month at least, I won't be doing much with the Ko-Fi page at all. I'm primarily focused on the YouTube and TikTok side of things right now. So I'm not going to tell you guys to go subscribe to the Ko-Fi page because I'm not posting anything at the moment. So starting like next month in middle December or something, I will start posting more stuff over there. Um, but you can check out the Kayfabe Central website. That's where I post all my coverage posts, articles, written predictions, all that good stuff is over there. I also have a group and community section on that side as well. So make sure you guys go check all that stuff out. Um, what else do I have to promote? Oh, go check out the Kayfabe Central Discord server as well. If you want to build a place, a community to talk it up about wrestling, then feel free to join the Discord server. And feel free to like shoot me a message or anything if the Discord server gets live or anything and more people join. Because I am currently not active in the Discord server, so I have no idea if people are joining or not. Um, so feel free to let me know and obviously go follow me over on TikTok. I got a lot of interesting things um going on the TikTok side of things and a lot more interesting things to come on the TikTok. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Um yeah, let's jump straight into AEW Full Gear 2025. Um so as they've been doing for the past few weeks, I don't know if you guys can hear my dog barking, but if you can, I apologize. Um they've been doing the tailgate brawl for the past couple pay-per-views, so they're doing it again. Um, I actually don't have everything in order here, what's on the tailgate brawl, but I do know that this match is on the tailgate brawl. That being Boom and Doom, Big Boom AJ, and QT Marshall are taking on RPG Vice, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero. Now, I initially thought this was going to be his son teaming with him. I thought that's what they were doing, but apparently
Which
not.
one's his son again? Can't remember.
Does he call himself the Rizzler or something like that?
Is that not like the like 6-year-old child?
I think he's like 13 actually. Yeah.
Actually, I thought he was like 6.
He's I think he's like 13 or something like
Oh,
that.
right, okay.
But I thought that's what they were gonna do, but obviously he's a child. He cannot be competing in the ring. Um, so it's QT Marshall. I don't watch Ring of Honor, so I have no idea when the babyface turn from QT Marshall happened. Um, but I don't have any interest at all in this match, as it is anytime this Big Boom AJ stuff is going on. It's gonna be this same nonsense. He's gonna come out, he's gonna say boom, he's gonna eat some cookies. And I don't know who wins this match. Either way, if whether RPG Vice win or lose, they're gonna end up looking stupid in the end, just so the crowd can be happy for Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall. But other than that, I have nothing else for this match.
I mean, I'm not to be fair. I've not even done any of the tailgate brawl stuff for my predictions. Uh, Boom, AJ, whatever the hell the team's called, because he's in it. As you said, I don't think either way. I don't think Reforming Rise look good coming out of this at all. So I'll take Boom Man and Rizzler and the other one to get involved.
Um, so actually, let me go over to this page so I know for sure. So we also have um this thing that Tony Khan has been doing where um when he doesn't have a plan for people, but he wants them on the card, let's throw some money on the line because that's always interesting. So we have a $200,000 four-way tag team match. The acclaimed, not acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, the Bang Bang Gang, Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson, Big Bill and Brian Keith, and the Outrunners, Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. All of these guys are fun tag teams. So this could be a fun way to kick off the tailgate brawl. Um, Whoever wins, it doesn't matter, really. Um, I don't think there's anything that's going to come out of this. I think that the AEW tag title scene is a little bit jam-packed for any of these guys to insert themselves into there, and we're going to be talking about that later on as well. But yeah, I don't expect anything to come out of this. If I have to pick a winner, I'm gonna go with Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, because I think that may make the most sense.
Yeah, that is again. I've not given this match a single thought, so I'm just going off of the teams you have read out, and the way the first ones that jumped to mind. Maybe, just Robinson. Which one of the guns is it?
Austin.
Austin. Like maybe them. I mean, I could pick them to be different, but to be truly honest, I think it will just be the acclaimed. As you said, not that, but it's got nothing to it. Also, I didn't realize that this match was for money, which is a bit weird considering one of the other matches on the card.
Oh yeah,
Hey, hey ho. Yeah, sure. I agree. I think the acclaimed probably.
yeah. The acclaimed, not acclaimed, because they're not
Yeah,
officially
they're
back
not acclaimed.
But I can see them winning. Um, Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson had a hilarious segment on AEW Collision last night, where uh like I didn't go over it on the post show last night because I didn't really care for the segments because as I mentioned on the post show, there's a lot of segments on Dynamite slash Collision last night that I could have done without, and there wasn't really a need for it. Um, but this one with Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson was pretty funny, where um, Austin Gunn was being the serious one, and he's cutting a promo, and Juice Robinson is like $200,000. It's like that was his line for the entire segment. He's just focused on the $200,000.
Well,
Um, like obviously in kayfabe, I don't know how they're gonna split the $200,000 between the entire BCG, but if they want to. Maybe they just split it between Austin and Juice Robinson. Um, but yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Um, I can also see a scenario where um, Big Bill and Brian Keith win this match, and maybe Jericho has won, a couple last appearances in AEW, and because he technically is still under contract over there, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe he, has one last appearance, and and he tries to take the money from Big Bill and Brian Keith. But Brian Keith and Big Bill refuse to because, Jericho, you left us. And then the official turn happens there. And then Jericho is more than likely on his way out of AEW over to WWE. Um,
yeah.
yeah. Did you have any other thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, it's definitely possible. I completely forgot the Learning Tree was even a thing. I think most folk try to forget it was a thing, to
Yeah.
be honest. Yeah, I guess that is a possibility because, as you said, Jericho is still under contract. Um, However, it is quite funny. I said it in one of my videos where everyone's clamoring for Edge to come back, and it's like Jericho will be back in WWE before Edge, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Um, he's definitely going back. I mean, even if you knew nothing about his whole contract situation, just listening to the podcast he did with the Dudleys and the Hardys, you're like, yeah, this man's not coming back to AEW at least for too long anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll bring up Edge a little bit later on, but he's definitely gonna be back in AEW. And he's gonna be there for quite some time. I
Yeah,
don't with him not being in the last time is now tournament, obviously I don't see a reason for him to come back, honestly. Um he went over to AEW to finish his career there. I think that should just be that. As much as I love Edge, there's only so much he can do for you know as many years as he can go, which I can only see being like maybe 2 years at most left in him.
Yeah, I agree. I think if at a minimum he would be back, it would either be in, I guess, the MVP kind of managerial role of our team, or if he was to do something similar to what Cena's doing, and obviously he can have like his last like proper full time run in AEW, and then if he wanted to come back and just do a little Cena best of hits, best hits of Edge, that's it. Otherwise, I just say I don't see a reason for Edge to come back.
100%. So we had another match announced for the tailgate brawl last night on um Collision, where we have the CMLL World Trios Championship on the line. El Sky team, who are the champions going into this. I have no idea who they are because I don't watch CMLL. But they're taking on the Don Callis family, Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita, and Hechicero. Um, El Sky team is going to retain the titles here. Takeshita and Okada don't get along, so I don't see them winning it. And Takesha's holding the IWGP heavyweight title. I doubt that they're going to give him a CMLL title as well, so he's traveling from Japan to Mexico to the States for AEW. I highly doubt that's going to be the case. It doesn't really make sense unless AEW just, doesn't care and then puts the title on them anyway. But this is not, WWE and TNA situation. So I highly doubt that's going to be the case. So I think that the Don Callis family retains here. I don't think that the turn is happening here from Takeshita. Um, I think that they're going to drag that out for as long as they can until Takeshita fully turns babyface.
Yeah, just to double check I'm getting this correct. You said the Don Callis to retain. I don't watch TML. They're not champions, correct?
Did I say Don Callis to retain?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was like, because I don't know either. Because I'm like, I don't watch TML like you, so I'm like, just to check, they're not the champions, correct?
no, no, I can believe. I'm such an idiot. I started off by saying El Sky team are the champions, and then
Yeah,
for some
okay.
reason I said Don Callis family retain. They are not the champions for CMLL.
Right, that's fine. Because I agree. I'm actually just looking at this match. Also, again, I didn't even know it was on the tailgate. Um, the names in this match and on the tailgate, that's crazy. Just have a look at that. It'll be a hell of a match. Obviously, we were just talking before we came on and talking about end of the year awards. I still think that Takeshita, Okada, and Mascara Dorada triple threat is one of my favorite matches of the year
Hmm.
um that they had. So this will be a hell of a match for the tailgate. Yeah, I agree. I don't really see the point in putting it on Okada or Takeshita. Like you said, they're still not getting along as much as I like would have. If they were going to do the storyline of them being tag champs, I would have rather been at the previous show where was it Wrestle Dream they faced Brodido? I can't remember if it was that or the one before it.
Yeah, it
Um,
was Wrestle Dream.
was
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I would rather they'd won the AEW Tag Team Champs there if they were going to go down the whole storyline of like the kind of John Cena HBK, like they don't like each other type angle. But the fact they're not, I don't see the point in putting this on them. And as you said, it just is extra work for them having to jump between Mexico, Japan, and America.
Yeah. Speaking of the tag team championships, those are on the line as well. This Saturday, Brodido is defending it against FTR. Brodido obviously being Bandido and Brody King versus Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. I think the title changes hands here. I think FTR wins the tag titles. It makes the most sense. Brodido has been a fun team. Surprisingly good because when they first put them together, it's like, okay, this is a very odd pairing. But man, they've been killing it, and they've become such a fun team where, down the line, if Tony Khan wants to go back to them as champions, they can. Because and it would make sense because they're a lot of fun and they're a fan favorite. Um, but FTR is involved in a lot of important storylines right now, and I think I brought up Edge earlier, Adam Copeland, where I think he's going to come back. Christian is going to come back, and they're going to run back Edge and Christian versus FTR for those tag titles, which I feel like it should have been for the tag titles in the first place when they went toe to toe. But they're definitely going to run that back, and I think it makes the most sense for FTR to win the tag titles here.
Yeah, when you mentioned Edge was staying in AEW earlier, this is where I assume you were talking about
Yeah.
because I totally agree. I think the exact same. I think FTR win it here. Like you said, I'm a big fan of Brodido. It's always the two opposite wrestlers that are nothing alike they get put together and end up putting on having a banger of a team. It always seems to happen. But yeah, they've done great so far. But I think storyline wise, it would be best suited to going back onto FDR. And then, as you said, down the road we can get Cope. Either I actually despise calling him Cope. I will continue to call him Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
Edge and Christian to return and face FDR again.
Yeah, I know. I've been calling him Edge consistently
Yeah,
because I can't bring myself to call him Cope. Like Adam Copeland, okay, I still
yeah,
don't feel comfortable, but fine. But then
yeah.
Cope, yeah, no, I'm
Cope
not calling him
is
that.
awful.
That's not happening. Um, so that's that match. That's gonna be a really fun match. We then have a four-way match to determine the stipulation for so no, this is a mouthful, guys, so bear with me. We have a four-way match to determine the stipulation for their semifinals matches in the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship tournament.
Nailed it. Yep.
So those teams are the Timeless Love Bombs, Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa, Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne, the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, and the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Um, I think this is just a means of to get these women on the card. I don't think this means a whole lot in the end. Because I was looking at this card. I think it was on Tuesday, and I was like, "There's only one women's match on this card." That's really weird. And I was like, I I was kind of hoping that we had at least, a tournament match on this card for the pay-per-view, or like even if they didn't want to do the finals, like semi-finals matches. Um, but no, they're just gonna throw them all together. And it's a weird one because even whoever wins this match, it doesn't like guarantee that they're gonna win their semi-finals match either. So it really doesn't matter. I went random and just guessed. I went with the Babes of Wrath, Willow and Harley to win this. Obviously, I would love to see the Sisters of Sin win it. But I think that Harley and Willow need some momentum anyway, so why not give it to them?
Yeah, I thought the exact same whilst I was going for this, in the fact that it doesn't really matter, as you said, and because it doesn't really matter, I feel like they could just go a bit wild with it, and you're going to be happy. Is I actually went for the Sisters of Sin
Oh
in my
wow.
predictions. Where I went for them, firstly just because I think having a stipulation out of the teams in here, I think it suits them the most gimmick wise. Because if they win, it will be some sort of hardcore match.
Yeah.
If they were to win it. And I think specifically after how good they looked in Blood and Guts, specifically Sky Blue, um, I think they might want to run something like that back. Again, everyone's really just came on to realize, holy shit, like these two are really good. I said I don't think they'll win the tournament, unfortunately. But they got the shock win in the first round, and yeah, if they win this, I imagine it'll be like some sort of, I don't know, barbed wire match or just a hard something like that in the semi final when if they can suits them. So I'm actually going to take the Sisters of Sin.
I can see this being a case of whoever wins this match isn't going to win the tournament.
Yeah.
I think it's still a good possibility that Willow and Harley win the entire thing. Um, and like they have Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir looking dominant, but they also faced Tay J last night. And all due respect to Tay Mello and Anna Jay, they're not the most credible tag team or women's wrestlers on the roster. And it was mainly just a squash match. So it could be a case of where they dominate their way to the finals and then they get beat in the finals. Um, because the Babes of Wrath they're on the opposite side of the bracket of Bayne and Shafir, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
So that more than likely is going to be the finals.
I think
Um,
so.
and yeah, I would be really happy for Willow and Harley if they won those tag titles. Um, and I think that can be a lot of fun. Um, I feel bad for Penelope Ford, man. I was saying this on the Dynamite post show that like I'm happy that she's there and she's still involved and she's ringside, but I feel so bad that she can't be physically involved. Um, I think that it's a good possibility that Bane and Shafir win those tag titles because depending on when Penelope Ford comes back, if Bane and Shafir are still tag champs by then Penelope Ford could be like, well, Shafir, like this is my spot. Thank you for um, replacing me, but I would like my tag title now. And Shafir's like, that's not happening. And maybe we get a babyface turn from Penelope Ford. So that's a good possibility. Um, and like it would be interesting to see where Megan Bayne sides with as well. If Megan Bayne, turns on Penelope Ford as well, which I can definitely see that happening. So I think there's a lot more interesting things to go to if you have Megan Bayne and Shafir win the tag titles.
Yeah, I am in total agreement. If you were to say to me right now, out of these four teams, who do you think is going to win the tournament? Mine's always been Bane and Shafir. I would absolutely love, and I think what you said earlier was definitely correct. I do believe the final will be a Harley and Willow versus Bane and Shafir. And I would love for Willow and Harley to do it. Harley specifically is one of my like favorites on the roster. I don't know why don't you just get those wrestlers? I think it was because I didn't really know much about Harley, and then it was when she did her program with Mercedes, and she did the doll entrance and the pup entrance, and I was like, this is incredible. This is just amazing. I love this. And you just instantly click with someone. That was me with for Harley Cameron. So I would love for her to win this year. I don't think it's going to happen. I agree. I think it's going to be Bane and Shafir, and there's lots of ways, as you said, they can go about it, especially if they're still champs when Penelope Ford comes back.
I think that the least interesting route that they can go for who wins these tag titles, unfortunately, is Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. They're just in love apparently, and it doesn't, make sense for these tag titles, and I can't see anything, you know, interesting stemming from them winning those tag titles. Like if anything, like you have more interesting things that can stem from either Bane and Shafir winning the tag titles, the Sisters of Sin winning the tag titles, or even Willow and Harley winning the tag titles. There's a lot more interesting things that can come out from those. Um, I am on the fence though with Bane and Shafir. And I'm on the fence because Marina Shafir has gotten so much better recently, and she is doing so good in this role. She just looks like a badass, and like she scares me when she's on a TV. Um, I don't know if this is a hot take. I honestly think that we could be looking at in maybe the next few months even, especially if Bane and Shafir don't win this tournament, we could maybe be looking at Marina Shafir as the next AEW Women's World Champion. I think that's a very good possibility. And it would be believable for her to beat Chris Statlander.
I totally agree. She's been incredible over the last. You said, I think being just in general character development, being paired with the Death Riders has done amazing stuff for her. But more specifically, as you said, the last couple of weeks being in this team with Bane, yeah, she's incredible. It's a shame when I look back. I remember when they did the obviously without Ronda, the Horsewoman in NXT, and not the one that we all know. The I can't even remember what. I feel so bad. I can't even remember what the other one was called, but it was Shafir, also Baszler, and the other one. I feel so bad. I can't remember her name.
Okay.
um, and it's like we just never got to see Shafir do. I think really anything in NXT. Um, at least very very minimal amounts.
You know what? I completely forgot she was in NXT.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't even,
And
yeah.
she just gets kind of lumbered with the oh, it's Roddy Strong's right wife. Where it sucks because she's as she's proven she's incredible. So I wouldn't even say that's much of a hot take, especially I think they would need someone like her in the at least the top of the women's divisions because she's really different compared to the rest of them. So I think I'm all for that if they wanted to go down that route.
Yeah, for sure. So that's that match. We also have a no holds barred match. John Moxley taking on Kyle O'Reilly. Um, I'm I'm happy that Kyle O'Reilly's getting the spot. I was hoping that they would go for a singles match between Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly. Um, and as happy as I am, and I was very close to going with Kyle O'Reilly for this match, but I'm not going to because it just seems like it seems too easy that Kyle O'Reilly is going to win this. And I think Jon Moxley is going to have something up his sleeve after taking many losses the past few weeks. He's going to get one up on O'Reilly. The little push that Kyle O'Reilly has gotten has been really nice to see and really refreshing because I love Kyle O'Reilly. He's so damn good. Um, but I don't think it's going to last that long, and I think Jon Moxley is going to end up beating Kyle O'Reilly here. I would be more than happy to be proven wrong, though. I would be more than happy if Kyle O'Reilly picks up the win here. Kyle O'Reilly is actually somebody, and we're going to be talking about the national championship later, but Kyle O'Reilly is somebody who I was saying if he didn't get a singles match against Jon Moxley, he should be in that Casino Gauntlet match for the national championship, and he should win that national championship because I think he would be perfect for it. But obviously, that's not going to happen. Um, yeah, I think Jon Moxley takes this one.
That's really funny what you've just said there because all week, not all week, but before today when I actually did my predictions on TikTok, I've been sitting planning who I was going to go for, and Kyle O'Reilly was my exact pick for the national champion. He was going to be mine until I woke up and seen the match of him and Moxley. I went, oh well, probably won't be him then. So that's really weird you said that because Kyle was going to be mine. Okay, this is one of these matches again. Um, I think you've gone with the sensible option, but actually picked it. I am once again going to recognize the sensible option in Moxley and go against it. I'm taking Kyle. Um, and I think for all the reasons you said are totally valid. Moxley probably will you'll have the Death Riders, but equally with another match on the card, I think they might get involved there as well, and it might be more successful for them there potentially. Spoilers. For this one, it won't be mainly. I feel like if there's any point we're going to see Roddy Strong and Orange Cassidy, it would probably be in this match
Oh yeah.
instead. So potentially that allows Kyle and them to fight off the Death Riders and Kyle to pick up that win on Mox. I just really wanted for Kyle. Like as you said, I adore Kyle O'Reilly. He was genuinely like I don't get wrong, I absolutely loved Adam Cole, but Kyle O'Reilly was my favorite of the Undisputed Era. I just something about him that I just absolutely loved, and I just wish we could have seen more from him in NXT. I know he was injured a little bit, but getting to see him with even an NXT Championship run that would have been so good. But we didn't. As you said, maybe this doesn't lead to anything. Maybe it's just a wee small push at the minute. But it's good to see him getting a singles match on a pay per view against someone like John Mox as well. Like probably AEW's biggest main eventer that they've got.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Kyle, though I will back you and say the small option here would probably be Moxley, but I will take Kyle.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy if Kyle O'Reilly wins this match.
Yep.
And I think if he does win this match, he's set up for big things afterwards. I will say though, I need this Death Rider storyline to end. I'm getting so tired of it. Like we have another match that, revolves around, the Death Riders as well. And we'll get into that later, whenever I come across it on my list here. But yeah, man, this Death Rider storyline, I feel like it's dragging out too long, and it's not anywhere near its end. I don't see it ending anytime soon. They're gonna drag this out a little bit longer, all the way up until the Death Riders turn on Jon Moxley and kick him out of the group officially. Um, so yeah, I that's the only downside to this. And then another match that we have later that I'm even least excited for. But yeah, I'll go with Moxley to win this match. We also have another match with money on the line. The $1 million trios match where it's Kenny Omega teaming with Jurassic Express, Jungle Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus taking on the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander. Now, this one's a bit of an interesting one because last night on Dynamite, we obviously had the return of Kenny Omega. He's doing the Roman Reigns thing where he goes away for a few months and comes back. So he came back, and during that episode of Dynamite, Don Callis was very adamant about the Young Bucks announcing to join the Don Callis family, but they were hesitant a lot on that. Um, and I've been mentioning, all week how the Young Bucks are teeter-tottering on a babyface turn, and I don't know if it happens here. Um, I think this would probably be the better place to make it happen. So it's still fresh and you don't drag it out too long to the point where it's people like, okay, we know what's gonna happen, just do it already kind of thing. Um, I think you do it when it's still fresh this Saturday at Full Gear. I don't have full faith that it'll happen. But the Young Bucks team with Josh Alexander last night on Dynamite, and Josh Alexander was very, bossy and pushy around the Young Bucks, and I can see him doing the same thing on Saturday. And the Young Bucks just have enough and hit him with that double super kick. Um, yeah, either way, this should be a fun match. All six of these guys are so talented. This is going to be a lot of fun. Um, I am going to go with Kenny Omega and Jurassic Express to win this match. I think that the problems between the Young Bucks and Alexander are going to get in the way, and then Omega and Jurassic Express pick up the win. After the match, Don Callis' family is probably going to try to attack Kenny Omega, but then Young Bucks, I can see them having enough, be like, okay, we don't really appreciate you beating up our buddy Kenny Omega like that so much. Um, and that's when the babyface turn happens. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Omega and Jurassic Express.
Yeah, you've definitely been saying over the last week or so about this potential Young Bucks babyface turn, and you know what? I could definitely see it happening here, like you said. Maybe it doesn't, but it could well happen. I think there's a lot of setup to what leads me to think it could, as you said, with the whole Don Callis situation, Josh Alexander last night. So I'm the same. I've got Jurassic Express and Kenny Omega to pick up the win here. But you know what? I know I said I wasn't too sure beforehand about seeing the Bucks turn babyface, but like at least now there's a bit of a story to it. And I'm cool with that. Especially if they're going to turn around and go against the Don Callis family from here. I'd be cool with that. I mean, give me. I know the other two aren't exactly getting on, but give me Young Bucks versus Takeshita and Okada. That sounds rather nice.
Yep.
Give me that match. So yeah, I actually do agree. I think there's a high possibility they turn babyface here, but I'm in agreement with the outcome in Omega and Jurassic Express.
Yeah. Um, I don't really have much else to add on to that match. Um, The Young Bucks turning babyface is an interesting one because I remember you bringing up you weren't sure how it's gonna work really because they're so good at being heel. But I think they've gotten to the point where people love to hate them, and I think we're gonna get to the point where people just love to love them, and because they're so damn good, and this can also set up if FTR wins those tag titles, beats Edge and Christian. This could set up FTR versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles.
As well.
Whereas, the storyline where FTR is like, oh, the Young Bucks went soft. They used to be these mean guys who ran everything. They used to be EVPs, and now, they're just, they'll find something clever to come up with. And obviously, the Young Bucks and FTR is a match that any wrestling fan would love to watch over
Yep.
and over again. So that's definitely something that can set up from that. Um, but yeah, I think the babyface turn should happen here.
Yeah, as you said, like at first I wasn't too sure on it, but now actually looking at plausible outcomes of what we could get, actually a perfect example there is the FTR match. Yeah, sign me up. I'm down with that. And as you said about the Young Bucks, so kind of get into that tag team Roman Reigns status where you said eventually they hate him for so long, but you said you and love to hate them, and then you just love to love them. Um, I mean that's probably a prime example because they are we said what our favorite tag teams are before. They're not my favorite tag team of all time, but I would never argue against someone saying that they are one of the best of all time because they are. They just
100%.
are. So exactly. So I love the Young Bucks. Um, and yeah, I would be cool to see them being babyface and just being able to actually like them and then love them.
I think we're en route to an OG Elite reunion. and we have the Elite versus the Don Callis family, and that's the big faction war that happens with the Don Callis family, of course, ultimately coming up short in the end. Um, I think that's the road we're going on, which you know what, I'm all for it. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely all for that because you can tell that. In kayfabe, of course, Kenny Omega still has that respect for the Young Bucks, where he didn't immediately hit them last night, um, and go after them. And the Young Bucks were very hesitant about delivering the BTE trigger to him. So yeah, I think we're en route to an OG Elite reunion.
I didn't even think about that, and that is amazing. I'm 100% down for that. That's a great call. It's a shame we've just passed Blood and Guts because it'd probably be quite a good one for Blood and Guts, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Yeah, I'm 100% down for that.
But you know what? I'm totally down if they add, a pay-per-view or whatever next year, we get an Anarchy in the Arena between OG Elite and
Ah,
Don
yeah,
Callis
yeah.
family.
I think you've got it. I think you've got
Yeah,
it.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yep.
Um, yeah. We also have the Casino Gauntlet match for the AEW National Championship. We've talked about the National Championship before on here. I think it's a terrible idea. I hate the name. I hate everything about this title. I don't understand why they need another mid-card title. But the Casino Gauntlet match for the National Championship, the inaugural National Championship, is happening. Only some members have been announced. Those members being Bobby Lashley, Shelton, Benjamin, who are starting off the match. Ricochet, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight are all going to be in this match. Um, so far, that's announced. They could just be two more people. It could be seven more people. And that's the fun thing about these Casino Gauntlet matches is because you don't know, and the match can end at any point. So I think that this can be a lot of fun. I like that we're starting off with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. That's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think that either of them are going to win though, because I was for the past couple weeks I was thinking that okay, Bobby Lashley's going to win the national championship in that gauntlet match, and then I thought about it. I was like, this is a national championship that's going to be supposedly defended across the world. If there's somebody that's at least for now announced for this match that makes sense to win this title, it's Ricochet. And because Ricochet has gone over to Japan, he's done some stuff. He travels, he still does indies, all that stuff. It makes sense for him to win the national championship, and I think he will. Um, he's doing so much better in this gimmick than what he was doing in the WWE, and um, I think you need to give Ricochet a title. All right, like the AEW World Title is obviously cooped up right now, and the other mid card titles are cooped up right now at the moment. So I think you can give Ricochet this national championship, let him run with it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ricochet to win this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I never even considered it that way because I haven't picked Ricochet. But that does make a lot of sense, as you said, with how the title has been established and what it's meant to mean. That does, in comparison to my pick, which is probably the boring pick, but as I said earlier, originally I had Kyle O'Reilly this entire time, and then woke up today and went, "Shit, I need to change my pick."
Yeah.
So I have gone for Lashley, like you said. It's just I can just see if they weren't to go with the something like Ricochet there, I can just see Lashley just running through the field. Um, Especially him and Benjamin at the start is actually very cool. It's cool to see that matchup. I wonder if Benjamin's forgiven Mike Bailey yet for last night.
That was very
Before
weird. Like,
it
was that on
was.
Mike Bailey or was that on the referee? I
I've
no clue.
I've watched it back and I have no idea because I mean it sounds mean to be like I'm going to blame the refs, but like well you especially yourself, like, you know Mike Bailey does quite personally, but close enough to
Yeah,
personally. And it's like he's an absolute professional. I wouldn't have imagined it would have been him if it was, but
yeah.
shit happens. It's wrestling anyway. Um, yeah, I can see not Benjamin, but Lashley. That's it. Just running through the field. It brings a bit of gold back to the Hot Syndicate. They've been a while without of it. Um, it adds a bit of something there. But now that you've like said it, I'm really much second guessing myself and thinking, yeah, that Ricochet pick does make quite a lot of sense. But I'll stick with Lashley to pick up the win here. Like, yeah, I always like seeing Lashley with a title around him, especially singles.
It's very it's kind of funny that you almost accidentally said Shelton Benjamin because my backup pick for that I want to win this match is Shelton Benjamin.
I'd be cool with that too.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be opposed to Lashley winning it either. Lashley is great. Um, but man, Shelton Benjamin deserves something too. He is
Mhm.
so damn good, and I think this title would suit him a little bit more than Bobby Lashley.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't be opposed to Shelton Benjamin
Yep.
winning this title. That super kick last night on Dynamite that he
My
delivered to
God.
Mike Bailey. Oh my God. Um, both of those guys are so good. That's what I said on the Bo show last night. 99% of that match was good. It was just that one pinfall
Yeah.
spot that I was like, oh man, why do you guys do this to me every time? The match is so good, and then you do this.
Oh no.
Um, but yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to um, Lashley, Ricochet, or Benjamin winning it. Um, there's a lot of good options you can go with here.
Yeah, I was literally going to just say that. To be truly, I still wouldn't make a lot of sense, but I still think even Mike Bailey or Kevin Knight just pulling out a surprise win. Like everyone in this match, I think could legitimately actually win this. Obviously some have less so chance than others, but like I wouldn't be mad at anyone I think winning this belt in this match.
Yeah,
At least the ones we know of, anyway.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that I was just gonna bring that up too. Speedball Mike Bailey could very well win the
Mhm.
national championship. Um, I think that could be cool for him. Um, We do have a no disqualification match for the TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher taking on Mark Briscoe. If Mark Briscoe loses, he is forced to join the Don Callis family. I think that we're looking at Mark Briscoe winning the TNT Championship here. It doesn't make sense for him to join the Don Callis family, and even if they went with that angle, it usually doesn't work, right? We saw it with John Cena and the Nexus before. That didn't really work out that well. Sure, he got a tag title out of it with David Otunga, but it wasn't, great. Stuff like that doesn't usually work out very well in the end. So I think that we're looking at Mark Briscoe winning here. It makes me a little bit sad for Kyle Fletcher because it feels like he just won that TNT championship. Um, but I wonder if this is more of we want to give Mark Briscoe a moment and he deserves it, or if this is more of we have other plans for Kyle Fletcher afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's this is one of the awesome matches that's been announced for a while because we've spoken about it quite a bit here and there. And we both are in agreement. I guess I'll just get out of the way. I totally agree. I think Mark Briscoe is winning the TNT Championship here. I'm very, very looking forward to the match. No DQ, you know it's going to be stupid and very bloody. It always is when it's a Mark Briscoe match. But yeah, as you said, like I don't know which way round it is. Maybe it's a mixture of both because I think Mark Briscoe is someone, especially now. I don't want to just use it as leverage, but obviously it is part of his story. Everything that went down with Jay, he's just had it's just the shittest of things to happen. So like he's just gone off by himself and just became this amazing singles wrestler. So you know what? Maybe it is a bit of a like thank you for everything you've done, and I think he more than deserves it. But as you said at the same time, maybe it is. Maybe plans have changed. Maybe it's a Braun Breaker situation where they've gone, all right, Kyle, you're coming up now. I think it's maybe a bit too early. However, if there's someone I think that could swim in that single swim situation, it's probably Fletcher. If they're going to go with it. We'll have to wait and see. And plus, at the end of the day, as you said, I don't think there's a chance in hell of seeing Mark Briscoe join the Don Callis family. Just wouldn't walk and be like Daniel Bryan and the White family. Like it's just doesn't make a lot of sense. Can't see it happening. But yeah, I've got Mark Briscoe becoming the TNT champion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is gonna be a really good match. I had a thought about this match and it completely slipped away from me. It'll probably come back to me. But yeah, this is gonna be a really fun match. I definitely see what you mean, and I honestly I didn't even think of it that way with everything Mark Briscoe's gone through, and like yeah, it really sucks for him, and I can just imagine this being really emotional for him. Not even just the character Mark Briscoe, the person himself,
Yeah.
just being really emotional about it, and understandably so. So I would be more than happy if Mark Briscoe won this because Mark Briscoe is a lot of fun. I don't think there's a person on this planet that hates Mark
Yeah.
Briscoe. And if
Absolutely.
you dislike Mark Briscoe, you should probably reevaluate your professional wrestling
Oh,
analysis over there. But yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
yeah, definitely. It's a shame and like a really happy, like sad way to look back on it. I actually got to see the Briscoes without even realizing who they were. They were in ICW one year when I went to go see Fear and Loathing over here in Glasgow, and they were in this big multi-man tag team ladder match. And I had no idea. I just knew they was the American stars. I think they were like at the time they were the Ring of Honor tag team champions, and then everyone just booing them out the building, which is so funny to look back at it. And obviously, it came from a really horrible situation, but to look at it and be like, Mark Briscoe is now one of the most beloved people in the industry. I just look back then and we absolutely hated the Briscoes. I didn't, and I really didn't appreciate who I was watching at the time because I didn't really know anything about the Briscoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I had. But yeah, but I love Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, I didn't learn about the Briscoes maybe up until like 2019,
Mm.
2020. Um, and then yeah, obviously did my research and then I was like, "Oh wow, these guys are, they're really cool."
Yeah,
Um, but that's that match. We also have another Death Riders type match where it's Darby Allin taking on Pac. Now, this is probably the match I have the least amount of interest in on this card. Um, it's because this Death Rider story, I've been asking for this Death Rider storyline to be over since Dynasty. Um, like this has gone on for so long. And um yeah, it's getting really dry and played out now. Um, this is still going to be a fun match. It's Darby Allin and Pac. They're still going to put on a good show, and I think um, AEW is going into this, booking this match, thinking that's all that matters, and that's what people are going to enjoy. The fact that these two are just going to go out and put on a great match, because usually with AEW pay-per-views, that's the main vocal point, and that's what matters. But in terms of a storyline point of view, it's getting really stale. Um, I can see Darby Allin winning this. However, if there's plans for Pac to take over as the leader of the Death Riders, I think that he wins this match here.
yeah. So to go into your point about this just being a really random match, I've said it before that I think certain AEW pay-per-views can be a bit cluttered with stipulation matches.
Yeah.
This is one of the weird times where I'm like, I feel like even if there's no need for it, this is one of the weirdest matches to not have a stipulation in a strange way.
Yeah.
Like something, like even just I don't know, coffin match, an ambulance match, something between Pac and Darby. Because like, I mean, Darby is a phenomenal wrestler, but like, it just does not in his style or his gimmick. It's the same. Get everyone who goes off about Moxley. They're like, oh, you can't put in a technical wrestling match. I'm like, well, the charm in John Moxley is just being a maniac, especially with Fox. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this is one that I thought when it was announced that it was one of the only matches in the card that when I woke up and seen it, I was a bit like, eh. Like I was like, and I feel bad saying that because Darby Allin and Pac. Like I love Pac and I love Darby Allin, but yeah, it's just as a just straight up singles match, I don't know if it interests me that much. Death Rider stuff, I totally agree. Is I think every single AEW prediction, I sit here and say, on my own ones, I go, oh, we're seeing the downfall of the Death Riders. I think we've been seeing the downfall of the Death Riders for the last 6 months now. It's just
Yeah.
never ending. That's part of the reason again why earlier I went with Kyle again to take down Moxley. But in a similar fashion to what you said, that's part of the reason why here that I do have Pac winning. As you said, I think there's a good chance Pac, if they are going down having a new leader and kind of trying to out Moxley, I think it will come from Pac. And this is the match where I think he will have a plan for the Death Riders to get involved and actually help him win. Whereas with Moxley, I don't know if it's going to go that way. So I've got Pac here.
Yeah. 100%. It could be as simple as Darby Allin just wins and that's it. Um, which I can see happening, but I'm hoping there's at least a little bit of a storyline aspect to this with Pac winning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with Darby Allin, but I am still on the fence about that one. Um, Another match that I'm kind of on the fence about is the AEW Women's World Championship match with Chris Statlander defending against Mercedes Moné. Now, we all know Mercedes Moné has 13 championships, um, and could possibly win a 14th at Full Gear if she beats Chris Statlander. I don't think that she's going to. I am taking Chris Statlander to retain. I wonder if they're heading for a storyline where it's Mercedes can win every other title except the big one. And that's gonna be the main thing that, drags her down. She has all these titles, but she's still not content because she can't win the big one. And I wonder if that's where they're going with this. Um, Yeah, I'm gonna go with Chris Allen to win. This is gonna be a lot of fun. They're both great wrestlers. I still don't like the CEO gimmick. It's not a good gimmick, but Mercedes is a fantastic wrestler. She proved that against Red Velvet last night on Collision. They put on a fantastic match for the amount of time that they were given. They put on a great match. So I give them kudos to that, and I always give Mercedes her props for what she can do in the ring. But I don't think that she's going to win this, but then again, it is very possible that she just wins it and adds another title to her collection. But I hope Chris Statlander's reign doesn't end that quickly.
Yeah, it's quite funny. So you said the same thing that I said in my predictions because you wake up and every single day, you just see Mercedes winning a new title. I hadn't even watched Dynamite yet, so I did what you said and was like, oh, 13 belts Mercedes. No, it's 14 belts. She has a chance at winning 15. So
Are they considering it a 14th title?
it has been considered a 14th one.
Oh
So
wow.
at the bit, she's got a chance of winning 15 belts, which is getting ridiculous at this point. Like I've said it before, you said before, like I'm not the biggest Mercedes Moné fan. Absolutely amazing in the ring, but yeah, the CEO gimmick I don't get. I did enjoy, again, an off-topic conversation. I did enjoy after Monday Night Raw seeing a load of the, let's just say, call them, I guess, newer or younger AEW tribalistic fans who had no idea that Gunther had the symphony before Mercedes did. Those folk calling for him to sue WWE, and it's like, oh, educate yourself, child, which is very funny. But Chris Statlander on Mercedes was I can't remember what show it was at, but it was the match that had the TBS Championship, I believe. I remember it being incredible. Um, I can't remember what show. I've completely forgotten. But either way, I am looking forward to the match matches because they've proven before that they can have a buy over match, and I'm sure it'll be no different here. Total agreement. I want Chris Statlander to win, not just because I don't particularly want to see Mercedes with another belt. But yeah, I think there's an interest in what you're saying there that Mercedes will one day be AEW Women's World Champion. That's like not even a shadow of a doubt in my mind. That will absolutely happen. However, I think it will happen out with this whole belt collector gimmick. I think it's interesting it being the one belt she can't get her hands on. Especially as going up against someone like Chris Statlander or someone who she's already beat. Um, and not being able to get the job done here against her would probably just frustrate her more. So I think there's a lot more to build off of. And as you said, I don't want to see Chris Statlander's reign end either. So I've got Chris Statlander to retain.
Yeah, it would be very weird if Chris Statlander's reign ended already. Um, like we already have more than likely a like Kyle Fletcher losing the TNT Championship, and that's quick as well. But Chris Statlander just won that title. It doesn't make sense for her to lose it just yet. But I'm in total agreement. I think Mercedes Moné will win that AEW Women's World Championship at some point. Um it's almost inevitable that she's going to
Yeah.
win that AEW Women's World title. Um, a title that I don't think that is going to change hands though. And this is, supposedly the main event of Full Gear, that being the steel cage match for the AEW World Championship. Hangman Adam Page takes on Samoa Joe in a rematch. They were able to stretch this out an extra month, which is Fine, I guess. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I was kind of hoping we got something different. But obviously they had Samoa Joe turn heel along with the rest of the ops, and they're continuing this. I hope that this is it. I hope that this is the end of the feud. This shouldn't continue for a third month, or sorry, a second month or whatever. Um, I think Hangman Adam Page retains here. I don't see a chance that Samoa Joe wins. I do see a chance that we see a return from MJF on this episode on this pay-per-view, whether it's during the match or after the match, and it made me think a little bit, just a tad bit. I'm picking Hangman to retain here, but it's possible that MJF returns in the middle of the match and costs Hangman the title and goes after Joe because Joe is the one that beat MJF. I think that is a possible route that they can go. Um, Obviously they have the thing where it's not like the Money in the Bank contracts. He has to give notice a week's time. But maybe Hangman gets really hurt in this match despite him retaining, and MJF returns and says, on Dynamite, I'll challenge you. I don't know how that works. I don't know if it has to be exactly a week,
Yeah, yeah.
or if he can
The
do that
next show.
Saturday. Yeah, next show. Um, but I can definitely see him pulling off something like that. But I'm sticking with Hangman retaining.
Yep, absolutely agree. I guess I'll get that bit out of the way with first. I think Hangman retains. It should be a fun match. Joe and Hangman, they'll just beat each other for a bit. But yeah, I agree. Once this is done with, I'm cool with it being left as it is. I don't see Joe winning the championship. I think there's definitely with Samoa Joe particularly because it's Samoa Joe. There's always I think that possibility that they just go, oh, here you go. But this is one I don't think is going to happen. And it's really again funny you brought this up because in a similar fashion, I also had a thought about this whole MJF segment because MJF was someone that I also potentially considered for the Casino Gauntlet earlier, but there's a reason I never mentioned him because after a while I went, I wonder if he gets involved in the Hangman and Joe match. So I was keeping him out for that, and pretty much almost bang on what you said. For him to come back, because especially here's the thing with Hangman's doing. It's been a weird one because Hangman finally got the belt. I'm not disliking Hangman's reign at all, but it's not been my favorite
Yeah.
of. Yeah, it's an interest. I don't. There's just something. Again, he's. I mean, we'll talk about also the potential end of the year awards. Hangman at the minute, I guess, won't say who, but he's a shoe-in for me for being wrestler of the year.
Oh yeah.
He's absolutely up there. But there's just something's just like he's still absolutely adored and loved by everyone. There's nothing wrong with Hangman per se. I think it's maybe just the storylines he's been given aren't the most interesting. Um, but yeah, I would be happy to see MJF return and we start getting into this Hangman MJF. But I think it makes a lot of sense, like you said, if obviously 'cause he can't cash in that contract straight away. That yeah, maybe there's a beatdown, or there's a beatdown from the ops or something and Hangman's battled in the ring. MJF returns, beats him down even more, battles him bloody, and then yeah, cashes in that contract for the next time, and then maybe talking about a new AEW World Champion within a week or so.
Yeah. I'm completely with you. I don't think Hangman's reign has been like it has been terrible, like you said, but
Mhm.
it hasn't been good either.
Yeah,
Um I think that the Samoa Joe feud could have been good if they just did that one match and left it alone. And you could have had Samoa Joe turn on somebody else if you wanted him to be heel. I don't think you really needed to run it back. However, I wouldn't mind Powerhouse Hobbs being Hangman's next opponent. I think that can be something good. Um, yeah, it just hasn't been very he hasn't had really compelling storylines for this AEW title reign, except for when he won it from John Moxley, and that was like the main storyline. Um, but it's kind of like the Cody Rhodes thing. Cody Rhodes finally finishes the story, and then after that, it's like, okay, you don't really get anything from this. Like
yeah,
he held the title for a year before he lost it to John Cena at WrestleMania, and then you try to think back on that year, and it's like, wait, who did he face for this title? And it's like, man, he barely faced anybody.
yeah.
Um, And like if anything, it was more tag matches. Like obviously that's not the case for Hangman. He's been defending the title. And he like except with the exception of last night, he defends it in almost every match that he competes in. But I think you need something more compelling for Hangman. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the MJF thing, but you need something that'll really like hook you to Hook's not on this show by the way. But really hook you to the title reign for Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah, total agreement. I'm glad it wasn't just me because, as you said, it's not like I've not disliked it. It's just, there's just needed a bit more oomph. But yeah, I think comparing that you said to the Cody one's a perfect example because I said that as well. I always use the kind of analogy of like looking at it like a Marvel film, like or like an Avengers film. Like at the end of the day, you get the Avengers being able to finally defeat Thanos, which is Roman Reigns or John Moxley. It's like cool. Now what? It's like you're just if you actually got to look at like what the Avengers were doing between fighting, cosmic gods, they'll probably just sat around doing nothing and trying to figure out fighting petty. So that's pretty much what wrestling is. You're like, okay, you've won the belt. What do we do now?
Yeah.
Waiting for that next big one to come around. So yeah, it is always hardest for baby faces in that sense. So yeah, I totally agree.
I also noticed, and I wrote this on the website, that the past few years, I think it's been like 3 or 4 years, Hangman Adam Page will have a match at Wrestle Dream, and for some reason, every year Tony Khan wants him to run that Wrestle Dream match back at Full
Oh,
Gear.
oh.
Almost every single year. I don't know what it is with that pattern, but every year it's been that way, and it's like, okay, this is getting a little bit weird, kind of out of
I
hand.
know
Like,
that's
give
mental.
give him some like better feuds here, like
Yeah.
because Hangman is so good, he can tell a really really good story
Hmm.
when he's given a really really good story. We saw that with John Moxley. So yeah, I think he just needs something a little bit more compelling.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, that is AEW Full Gear 2025, our predictions for it. As always, we want to know what you guys have to say as well and what your thoughts are. You guys are just as big a part of the show as we are, so make sure you drop your comments down below, whether you're listening on YouTube, or I guess watching on YouTube, because you actually can see us, or listening on Spotify, where you won't be able to see us over there. You'll just be hearing our beautiful voices over there. So, yeah, but let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. As I mentioned at the start, you can let me know on the Kayfabe Central website, the TikTok page, all that good stuff. Is all linked down in the description. So make sure you guys go check all those links out. And you can find me on all social medias, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. So make sure you guys go check that out. Ru, I'll let you plug your stuff.
Yeah, sure. So Raw on Wrestling on TikTok, you can find me there. Do a lot of predictions, fantasy booking, post-show previews, and post-show, no, pre-show, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Previews for shows, post-show reviews, reactions, all that fun stuff over on TikTok. So it's Raw on Wrestling. You can actually see it on the screen, I suppose, because our names will be up for once. So you can see it underneath our great names here. So yeah, Raw on Wrestling, find me. I am on YouTube as well. I don't post here yet, but go and give me a subscribe if you wish.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, that's gonna do it for our AEW Full Gear 2025 predictions. We both can't speak today, apparently. So that's what happens when you talk about wrestling for an hour straight, and you finish your glass of water. So yeah, I will be back tomorrow for the Friday Night SmackDown post-show review. I am also recording an interview tomorrow that'll probably be up on Sunday. I won't be home when the interview drops. I'm going to schedule it, but I will be having an interview tomorrow that I am recording. So make sure you guys keep your notifications on so you are notified and updated when that interview drops. So until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.